All right, today we're going to go on a little bit of a treasure hunt. We're going to look past the surface of what seems like a simple first grade worksheet and uncover the really powerful, really intentional teaching strategies that are hidden right inside. Let's dive in.
So you look at this, and at first glance, yeah, it's just a counting packet. But the lesson plan that goes with it, oh, it's a total masterclass in cognitive science and student engagement. It is meticulously designed to build a deep, lasting understanding. And we're about to reveal all of its secrets. That's a pretty compelling question, isn't it? This whole lesson really proves that with the right structure and a little bit of magic, even the most basic skills can become this incredibly exciting adventure. Okay, so every great lesson starts not with instruction, but with intrigue. The first goal isn't to teach the answer, it's to make the students desperately want to find it. And that, right there, is the hook. So check this out. The lesson kicks off with the number mystery. The teacher doesn't just put objects on the table to be counted. No. They create suspense with the mystery bag. They get the kids engaged by asking them to guess. And then there's the big, dramatic reveal. This whole thing transforms a simple counting task into a shared mission. The framing here is absolutely everything. The teacher doesn't say, okay, we're going to learn about numerals today. Instead, they invite the students to become math detectives who get to write a special code. I mean, that analogy is brilliant. It turns an abstract symbol into something powerful and super exciting for a first grader. So, once their curiosity is sparked, we move into what's called the I do phase. This is where a master teacher doesn't just tell, they show. They model not just what to do, but how to think like a real mathematician. So the first critical skill they model is one-to-one correspondence. Now, I know that sounds kind of technical, but it is the absolute bedrock of counting. It just means you can only give each object one number. If you get this part wrong, nothing else is going to work. So how do you explain this to a 6-year-old? Well, you use an analogy they understand instantly, being fair. By framing counting as giving each object one turn, the teacher makes this abstract math rule feel totally concrete, intuitive, and really memorable. It's so simple, but so incredibly effective.
Okay, the second core concept is called cardinality, or what we can just call the last number rule. It's that understanding that when you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the number 5 isn't just another word you said. It actually represents the total number of things. And for a young learner, that is a huge cognitive leap. Now, to make these big ideas really stick, the teacher models a concrete strategy to prevent those common errors. By making a little mark on each object as it's counted, students learn to avoid skipping items or double counting them. It's kind of like leaving a trail of breadcrumbs so you don't get lost. All right, let's move to the next phase and see how this all builds. After the teacher shows how it's done, it's time for the we do. This is the bridge between seeing it done and doing it all by yourself. It's all about building confidence through guided, collaborative practice. So the lesson plan uses this count and match sheet for both the whole class and for partner work. First, kids come up and model for everyone. Then they turn to a partner. This structure is key. It lowers the stakes and turns practice into a fun social game. But the real magic, it happens while the students are working together. The teacher's circulating, listening, and asking these really targeted questions. And notice, these aren't yes or no questions. They push the students to explain their thinking, which reinforces those big ideas of one-to-one correspondence and cardinality. And now, we've arrived at the final stage of practice, the you do. This is where students get to apply their new skills all on their own, and it's where a truly great lesson reveals its most sophisticated design element, differentiation. This, right here, is what sets a masterclass apart. The teacher doesn't just give every student the same worksheet. Nope. They have 3 different options ready to go, each one targeting a specific skill level. This ensures every single student is challenged in just the right way, so no one gets left behind and no one gets bored. I mean, just look at this. On one side, you have a student who needs some foundational practice, so they're focused on recognizing the correct number. On the other side, a more advanced learner is already connecting numerals to the actual number words. It's the same core objective, but the task is perfectly matched to the student. That is some expert-level teaching. But wait, the lesson isn't over just because the independent work is done. A master teacher is also a master assessor, and they're constantly thinking about what students might misunderstand and how to check for learning. A great teacher anticipates errors before they even happen. They know that students might just recite numbers from memory without actually counting, or they might forget that last number rule, or they might reverse their numerals. By keeping these common stumbles in mind, they can provide targeted support exactly when and where it's needed.
And finally, the lesson closes with a quick, totally brilliant formative assessment. The teacher just holds up a number of fingers and asks the students to write the numeral on a little whiteboard. In seconds, literally seconds, they have a visual snapshot of the entire class's understanding, which gives them the data they need to plan for tomorrow.
So, what seems like a simple worksheet is actually this powerful engine for learning, and it's all built on a deep understanding of how kids think. It proves that the greatest tool in education isn't the technology, it's a thoughtfully designed experience. So it leaves us with just one question. What adventure will you create?